I somehow broke 2 needles. This is flimsy viscose. How did I break 2 needles? Measuring in from the edge, 5/8 of an inch. I've been watching Brittany Broski. She's having an influence on me. I know, honey, you just need pets. She came and plopped right on my project when I was pinning it. Oh, Turkey's gonna lay on this, guaranteed. Go on, lay down. I know you're thinking about it. Hi you guys, welcome to my channel. I'm so excited for this one. I'm gonna show you how I created this totally fun 90s Playsuit from a vintage sewing pattern that I got on eBay, and it is complete with shoulder pads, which yes, I will be wearing, but I'll show you how I created an option for taking them out. It's really versatile. This will be more of a vlog style video. It's not necessarily a tutorial, so go ahead and feel free to join me on this chaotic journey from start to finish. Okay, so today I will be sewing. I've never used this brand pattern before. I found it on eBay. I think this is from the 90s, if I recall. It says 1991 right there, if it'll focus. Okay, so I will be sewing this style brand sewing pattern in 2059, and I'm going to be doing view 2, and I will be doing size 14. I have about a 28-inch waist, so I figure, and also the hip is pretty close, so I figure I'll go with that. My bust is a little smaller. It's more like a size 12, but I'd rather have more room than not, so I'll cut, or I did cut a size 14. Speaking of that, for time's sake, I already cut all the pieces. And if we look at the instructions, it says to cut pieces A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and J. Seems like a no-brainer, but the first thing I do is read all of the instructions. Like literally I read all of them. I don't scan, I look at every step so I know what's coming. The standard size seam allowance is 5/8 of an inch unless otherwise stated. So the first step is stay stitch front neck and panel seam edges. So that will be on what piece? The front. Okay, I'm just gonna find the piece that looks like that because it's not telling me exactly which one. I believe that is piece, hold on. Okay, I think I found it. I think that's piece G right here. So basically they're saying to stay stitch the neckline and the, I think that's a princess seam. I could be wrong. Yeah, the princess seam. I just had to look at the picture. So princess seam, neckline, stay stitch on both of those. I'm just gonna do probably like a 3mm, or is it millimeter? Size 3 stitch length. I also forgot to mention that I'm gonna do this inside the seam allowance. So right here it would be 5/8 of an inch, so I'm just gonna make sure to stay inside of that. I'll probably do it around 1/2 an inch. And I'm not even gonna bother back stitching. It doesn't have to be exact, like you don't have to stay exactly on the 1/2 inch line or whatever. In fact, you can take these out later if you want. If you don't know what stay stitching is just a line of stitching, usually along a curve, like a neckline, or here, yeah, this is the neckline, to prevent that edge here from stretching out. So I don't know if you can see, probably not. I've already done my stay stitching here. You can kind of see it right there. But now that I've done that stay stitching, this edge right here is less vulnerable to stretching and warping out of shape as I work on this project. Well, I need to practice what I preach because I realized I already messed up. Well, it's not a huge deal, but this is not piece G. This is the front piece. That would be piece A, this one. So I'm gonna do basically that exact same thing on piece A. And the reason I know it's piece A now is because looking ahead, I can tell that's the piece they were referring to. So read ahead, Brittany. Practice what you preach. You would have known. Although it makes sense why I would have gotten those pieces confused, because G is the facing for A. So literally they have the same shape right there. So that makes sense why I got them confused. All right, now I've completed that. I've stay stitched along this edge and this edge on both pieces. And next step is to cut a 1-inch square of fusible interfacing for each of these pieces, and then apply that to wrong side centrally over the large dot, which we should have marked earlier, which I did. I will show you. All right, so let me cut a couple pieces of interfacing. Okay, so now I'm looking at the wrong side of that piece, and I have my piece of interfacing here. I'm gonna feel for the bumpy side, that's the side with the adhesive. And literally all I'll do, I'll show you where I marked. There's my mark with my tailor's tack. I'm just gonna lay this piece with the marking right under the center of that square. It's hard to do with one hand. This edge here will be parallel to that. So I will go do that on both pieces, and I'm just gonna set the iron down on them for a couple seconds to glue the adhesive. Okay, so it's gonna be hard to see, but there's my interfacing. It's glued on. And it says to reinforce the front, stitch through large dot at inner corner as shown. So it looks like they're just doing stitches at a right angle through the center of the dot. I'm referencing the center of that square, the little dot, and I'm lining up the ruler with that dot, but I'm also making sure that this edge here is parallel to the line I'm about to draw. So I will just draw a line like that. Then I will draw another line at a right angle to the one I just drew, going through that dot. Okay, next it says stitch front to side front, press seams open, clipping curves where necessary. Okay, so I've laid out the two pieces I'm gonna sew. This is the one we just did the interfacing on. This is the side front. So I will flip this side over, and then we're gonna stitch right along this edge. I'll meet you back. It's very shifty fabric, so I have a lot of pins. Okay, I have finished both of those. The instructions said to like clip the seams and everything and iron it. I'm gonna wait to do all of those, like ironing the seams and clipping the seams. I'm gonna wait to do all that till I do a try on, because I don't want to clip seams if I'm gonna have to redo them, if I need to like take it in or anything. And the next step is basically to make the ties in the back. So it says fold tie belt in half lengthwise with right sides together, stitch as sewn, 3/8 inch seam. Okay, so it's not 5/8 inch anymore. So we're gonna take piece C. This is very hard to do with one hand with this fabric especially. It's very flimsy. We're gonna fold it in half like this, right sides together. And then basically just do a 3/8 inch seam all along there, except we're gonna leave that open. That doesn't need to be closed. So let me do that real quick. Okay, now I need to turn these inside out. Sounded kind of Canadian right there. I said out. It's interesting, given that I'm from Texas. I forgot to clip this. That might be why I'm having trouble. But this is really thin fabric, so it might be okay. Okay, so anyway, turn it inside out. Well, clip it first, so I'm probably gonna clip this in half on this one. Clip it, turn it inside out, and then we'll give it a press. Okie doke, I have 2 ties. Yay, okay. On outside, matching small and large dots, pin, tie, belt to back as shown, baste. Okay, so baste it to the back. I gotta figure out where the dots are on the tie. I didn't mark them yet. So then we'll just match the dots and baste in the seam allowance. And I'm gonna make an effort to make sure that the orientation of the tie on each back piece is mirrored, so it's not like flip-flopped on one. So let me do that real quick. And I just realized I had the orientation wrong, so it should be this way. Match the picture, Brittany. Okay, so orientation of the back piece is the same, so then it'll go on like this. Got it. Stay stitch back, neck, edge. I just went ahead and did that off camera real quick. It's exactly like I did it in the first step. Then it says stitch back to side back piece, taking care not to catch the tie. Yep, good advice. Press seam open, clipping curves. Like I said, I'm not gonna do that yet. I'm gonna wait for a fitting and then I will serge all the seams. So essentially I'm going to attach the side back to the back. Okay, I have I have a back piece here. Okay, I can tell that this is the center back because it's a straight line. And you can see the neck curve up there is cut in half. So I can tell this is the right side of the back. So I need the right side back piece. Yeah, that looks right. And then the tie will be in between the seams. The next step there, step 3, says to stitch front to back at inner leg seams. And I was getting really confused, so I'm on the floor now. I need to lay all these pieces out. Okay, and this is the right. So let me lay that down. This is the right. Then I need the other front piece, which is right here. And that's gonna go this way. Oh, Turkey's gonna lay on this, guaranteed. Go on, lay down. Go on. I know you're thinking about it. Oh, she didn't do it. This is the left back. There's the tie. And then this is the right back. Okay, I'm beginning to understand. Okay, they want us to join the leg parts right here together at the front and the back pieces. So that means I need right sides together like this. Right sides together, leg seam there. Okay, so I will do that on both sides. Step 3 continued with right sides together, pin, center, crotch seam, stitch from back. Okay, so we're connecting the 2 halves of the garment from the back neck all the way to that large dot, and then we'll clip it. I need to connect right sides together. This is the back, I can tell that's the back neck. So now I need my other piece like this. So I'll have to do a better job of lining all that up, but basically we're gonna take the 2 halves, right sides together, and we will stitch. I don't know why I'm saying we. I will stitch. I'm just imagining y'all are doing this with me. Stitch from the top of the back of the garment all the way down here around the crotch curve to this dot. and then we'll clip into that. Okay, next step is right sides together, stitch the shoulder seam. So I just lay the front to meet the back, and we will stitch right there and right there. Okay, so I'm having severe fit issues. I'm very short in the torso apparently. I already took the shoulder seams in an inch more, and it's still kind of long. There's a lot of fabric in the back. I decided what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut it in half. I don't wanna do this, but I think I have to. I have this yarn around my waist, and I think what I'm gonna do is I have to be mindful that if I cut it in half, I'm gonna lose some length already because I'm gonna lose it in the seam allowance. So I'm gonna cut it, maybe like ½ an inch below this yarn line. And then I'll just do right sides together and sew them and see if I can like lose some length in this area. And I'll just keep, like I'll start with a 5/8 inch seam allowance and I'll just keep going from there. Okay, this is already so much better. There's a waist seam now. I hate that I had to cut it. I liked that it was all one piece like a dress, but I had to do it. So I took it in. The final seam allowance was an inch, so basically I took it in 2 inches, and it's fitting baggy because I had to take the ties out. I'll have to reattach the ties in a different spot than the original one. It's just been a mess, but I can tell now. So here's my natural waist right here, so I'll attach the ties right here, and then it fits much better now. No more excess bagginess in the back. Shoulder pads are in. This is much better. So, well, I have a lot of work ahead of me. Okay, so I have to take out the shoulder seams, take out this waist seam. I need to serge all of the side seams. So like the side front, side back, side, making sure to put the ties back in before I do that. And then once those are serged, then I can attach the shoulder seams, serge those, attach the side seams and serge those. The reason I have to take it all apart is because you can't serge seams if they come to an intersection like this. So like I can't serge this if it's gonna be in the way of this. So I have to take this apart if I want to serge this seam. So literally I have to take the whole thing apart and do everything I said, and then we can finally move on to the next step. I wanted to point out that the next step is pockets, but I will not be doing pockets on this one. I didn't cut those pieces out. So I get to skip step 4 entirely, which means, yeah, step 5 is facing. And this is not gonna be as simple as it's described because I've altered my pieces now. So now the facings won't fit properly because I've adjusted the fit of the dress, playsuit, whatever. I guess what I'll do, so basically this step is telling you to apply interfacing to the facing pieces, which is the back and the front parts, like the back neck and the front parts. And then it says to attach those pieces together. So you're basically making one long facing piece that goes from the button placket all the way up around the neck and down the other side of the button placket. So I think what I will do is interface the pieces as is, and then what I'll do is I will stitch the pieces together, trying to do the same exact alterations I did on the other pieces. We have to have a pet the kitty break. I know, honey, you just need pets. She came and plopped right on my project when I was pinning it. Like, you can't say no to this. You have to pet the cat. I know, you just need some love. I know. Okay, so I have done the alterations to the facings that I mentioned. So I just cut it right where the waist was cut too. You can see there's the waist of the garment that I took in, so I just did the same here. And then I also did a huge seam allowance on the shoulder, just like I did on the garment. So I already serged this. I need to serge these shoulder seams. And then what I did also is I pinned it all in place just to make sure it fits. Since, you know, I changed the size of everything, I just pinned it all in place, make sure it's sitting well, nothing twisting weird, no loose, or no huge discrepancies in the length of each of these pieces. It does fit now. It wants us, before you attach the facing, it wants you to do an edge finish. I think I'll skip serging and I'll just fold the edges under just to make it look nice and neat on the inside. Although I guess it doesn't matter since I have serging there. Maybe I'll just serge it. So what I ended up doing to edge finish the facing was I serged the raw edge and then I just folded it over a bit. So I did that around the whole edge of the facing, and now I've reattached it with pins. Everything is fitting nice and flat. So if you recall that large dot at the bottom where we had that 1-inch square of interfacing, that's where we're basically ending these facing pieces. Like, they're both gonna match up to that large dot here. So I'm just gonna do a 5/8 inch seam allowance all the way around the edge. I started pressing it inwards, the facing I mean. So you can see this is like the one of the front edges where the buttons will go. And it's laying nice here at the front, but towards the back I was having trouble and I realized I forgot to clip my seams. So the instructions say to clip and trim the seams and clip the corners and stuff, so I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay, so the instructions said to slip stitch the facing to the garment at any possible seam, so like the backs, the center back seam, the shoulder seams. I don't want to hand stitch right now, so I'm just stitching in the ditch at those seams. So right now I'm dropping my needle into the shoulder seam. It's going through the garment and the facing. And I'm just gonna do, I did not get that in the ditch, that's okay. I'm just going to do a couple stitches here as close to the ditch as I can. My phone is ringing. Okay, so we're kind of getting a garment here. The next step is to basically prepare the front for the buttons. So it's showing that the right piece overlaps the center line, and it overlaps the left side. And this spot right there, that right angle where the facing sticks out of it, that's where that large dot is. So basically I need to prepare these pieces to be folded that way. And basically what I need to do, this is where that large dot was. Remember we clipped there? That's where the clip is. I basically need to fold all that under like this. I can't do it with one hand. And then it'll be like a nice, neat edge. Here's how one side looks. I just have it pinned right now, it's not sewed. All right, the part I'm dreading has come. It's time for buttons. Played around with them. The pattern calls for 6 buttons, but because, I don't know, the spacing looked weird with this new seam line and I don't want a button on that big thickness there. So I just found that 7 just looked a little better. Okay, I have successfully done 3 buttons, or buttonholes. I don't know if you can see. Right here, and right here. I've been watching Brittany Broski. She's having an influence on me. So, yeah, here's the buttons. I'm kind of just like using those as a guide now, to be honest. So the next one will be about right here. So I'm gonna draw a little line right here. Then the pin is the center point. So I will, why doesn't it clip on the end? So now I'm gonna draw a line as 5/8 of an inch. You're not gonna be able to see it, are you? So I'll try my best. Try me best. Try me best. There. Okay, wait, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, wait. Let me think, alright? Okay. You're not going to be able to see that because the pin is purple. But along that center line, I drew the guide for the buttonhole, which is 5/8 of an inch. So let's go to the sewing machine. So, I'm bringing the garment under this buttonhole. Let's, oh jeez, what a mess. Okay, I want the thread over here. What is happening? There we go, okay. I'm looking for that line I drew. And I want my needle to go down right at the bottom of that line I drew because it's gonna move backwards. Right there. Take me needle out. Take me needle out. Out. Now I sound Canadian. I gotta stop. Okay. Actually it needs to move. Needle up. Move. Probably there. Okay. Down. Alright. And off we go. I'm just making sure to guide the fabric. I'm not like pulling it, but I'm making sure it's not going to twist. And there is, there's the buttonhole. I need to do that 3 more times. That was the literal worst experience. Good Lord. I somehow broke 2 needles. This is flimsy viscose. How did I break 2 needles on this, doing the buttonholes? So 2 of these, so like I showed you how the sewing machine does the buttonhole stitch, right? It's computerized and it goes in this pattern. But 2 of the buttonholes, in the middle of that pattern, the needle just broke. So the computer at that point was like, I don't know where to start now. I gotta start over. But I didn't want to start over. I didn't want to stitch that much in a buttonhole. It would have looked weird. So then I had to like replace the needle and then manually with zigzag stitches and stuff fill in the rest of the pattern. It was literally awful. The worst thing I've ever been through in my entire life. I'm exaggerating if you can't tell. Oh, that sucked so bad. And then I thought I lost the tip of the broken needle in the machine. It was a disaster. Honestly, this took way too long, but it's done. Hey, you guys. We're like a week out, and I thought this would be a 3-hour project. I can't be bothered to sew on the buttons right now. I think that's technically what comes next. Is that what comes next? Did I skip ahead? I think I did. I surely did. I skipped ahead. So this is, the last step is the one with the buttonholes. Why did I do that? Okay, so we're going ad-lib now, improv. Love that. So we need to be here now. We need to work on the sleeves. Thank God. I'm done with buttons. So it says, east stitch top of sleeve between outer small dots. I think they want us to do that to gather it so we can set in the sleeve. Stitch underarm seam, press. Press up hem. Baste close to pressed edge. Why? Okay, we're not gonna baste here. I'm not gonna do that. First thing I'll do is the basting stitch at the sleeve cap, then I will do the underarm stitch, then I will serge that underarm seam, then I will serge the raw edge of the sleeve, then I will press up the hem, and then I will just sew it in place. So let's do all that. Get you a nice real close there so you can see all my stitches. I am doing the hem on the sleeve first before I attach it. I just feel like that will be easier. Oh. I forgot I can do that. Wow. Okay, I have a couple sleeves in. I only had one little hiccup where I had like a tiny little pinch or a fold, and I had to unpick like an inch of the seam and redo it, but other than that, it went pretty well. I realized I need to do something about these. And the instructions don't say anywhere anything about what to do with the shoulder pads. It calls for shoulder pads, but it doesn't say anywhere to put them in there. So I'm confused. So I think what I'm gonna do is I ripped these out of a shirt I thrifted. Might as well reuse them. So I'm going to get some scrap fabric, put it around this, and then just serge, kind of like how it is now, serge around the raw edge. It would be cool if there was a piece of Velcro on the pad, and then I could take the pads in and out as I want. Okay, I have finished that. So here is the shoulder pad I covered with the fashion fabric, and then let's see if I can do this in hand. I put Velcro on the top side of it so that I can have an option. This looks pretty messy because, like, of course I would love to sew like a little square around this, but then it would show on the outside and I thought that would look a little messy. So I just did a stitch in the ditch here and just made sure to catch this. So I'll just be careful when I detach or attach this side. The last thing we have to do is the hem. And hems are boring, so I feel like I'm just gonna speed through that and then show you the final product. You guys, it's time for the reveal! First of all, look at my hair. I did space buns, so cute. Look at me. Space buns is perfect for this look. So here's the final product. I think the shoulder pads are just enough extraness, not too much. Love the little wood button details. They're not really wood, they're plastic, but I just love how this turned out. I don't know if you can see my earrings. I have little pink gummy bear earrings. I'm obsessed. A little tie in the back at the waist to cinch things in, but it's not too tight, it's comfortable. I also showed you how I just remove those shoulder pads quickly if I don't feel like wearing them. So why don't more garments do that, by the way? Like, we should have more options for shoulder pads. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching, and be sure to subscribe, like this video. It helps out the algorithm. It tells YouTube I'm doing a good job, and I want to do a good job for you guys. So until next time, I hope you have a great day.